Bob and Bill reprised their role and confidence in Revenge.
Good morning. How about yourself?
Good. Good. My lady from Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
And draw upon the powers of darkness. The kingdom of Turkey would suffer for its treatment, and no one would stop him this time. Nearly everyone was back from last year, including little Daniel. Oh, then Jeff Worthington, rarely seen without the full beard, had since he was 10 years old. Since summer media films were in an era of using backlog material, it seems only appropriate that the next film would be a remake. Secret of the Stone House was an infinitely more interesting film than Portrait of a Lady. Yeah, well, I agree. Proved everyone that Mr. Martin again, the subject matter could be entertaining.
Oh, really? I went to see Randy Leshevsky in concert. It was fabulous. I got a side.
I saw that running a video. And he's making a video. Should we wave?
I'm gonna nod.
Oh, I click obnoxious. He's making a video. That's all the kids will do, right?
For years of EMG, it made us angry at people who do that.
Oh, really? Yeah. Hi, Randy.
Hello. Oh, she is also.
And there's Randy.
Got one to cherish. Yeah.
Really? When you look at a break, 6-hour shoot. Every time you just sit back and relax. Ever. It just doesn't happen.
Randy gets paid very well.
Mr. Adams takes pictures and he doesn't get paid.
Right. All right, sure. Great.
Good.
How cool is that?
That doesn't.
How do you do it? How's everything going?
Basically,
Hello.
Lori invited me over there to watch some videos. I decided not to, but I was invited over to watch She said she's saving my scene watching videos. I declined her offer to watch.
Hi, Randy. Cheers to victory. And there's Alex's ear.
Cheers to Randy. I gotta get a seat soon. I don't want to end up sitting next to Randy.
I can smile and drink at the same time.
thank you very much.
Obviously.
No,
That's why we're here smiling.
You told the truth. You have character and it means a lot. Well, you did. Good job.
Oh, we appreciate your work.
Well, it was the right thing to do. You stood down and told the truth. Tell the truth. The truth always wins out.
In 1983, with Return of the Astronaut. Now, before you say not again, this one is set in contemporary time. And this time the neat outfit turns brown, probably through age. Frank Smith wears the same blue amulet and the same yellow cape as the latest form of the astronaut. you're going to put them in there, then you have to lift the lid first. I don't think you can do that. Yeah.
I hate to. Just say hi.
Everything, including sound.
Good evening. Hello. Thank you all so much for coming. We are blessed to be celebrating tonight, and I'm so happy to see everybody here. And this is a great way to start the holiday weekend. And so thank you all for coming, and it's going to be a great dinner. And I'll be back later, but for now I'd like to introduce Mr. Joe Rooney. He's going to do the invitation. Here comes Mr. Rooney.
Lord our God, you have given us your faithful the grace to maintain our hope in you through all life's struggles and changes, and to taste and see your goodness. We ask you to bless Bob Clark and all those who have supported him and given him strength through the troubled times. Through the strength you have given him, we have found joy in a renewed strength in all of us, and the Spirit within us. We ask that we may be inspired by this example. We give you thanks for all the gifts you have showered on us. We ask you to bless the food that we are about to share. It is a sign of the presence which has brought us together this day to work in harmony and peace. May everything we do begin with your inspiration and continue with your help, so that all our works may begin in you and by you be happily ended. Glory and praise to you forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you. Just go on.
I'm back. My dad let me know that I should tell everyone here to dig in, enjoy your meal, and I'll be back again. Thank you.
I'm here to introduce some of you guys. Some of our honored guests tonight, if you could all hold your applause, it's a long list till after each section. We have Mr. and Mrs. Tom Clark. Are they around? Stand up. Could you stand up for us? Thank you very much. We have Mr. and Mrs. Ed Friedman. I saw him over there. We have Mr. George Jacumi and his lovely daughter Leslie. And we have Mr. Michael Gallagher, Dr. and Mrs. Richard Lashevsky, not Randy. I know you heard that name. I believe Mr. Joe Pagano is not with us tonight, but we'll mention his name anyway. We have Mrs. Elfie Randolph. There she is. We have Dr. and Mrs. Dean Ruday. I saw them earlier. We have Mr. Gary Selleck, but he's not here tonight. He's a hard-working man. I think he hurt his back. And then my mother, Mrs. Marlene Smith. She's too modest to read. Mr. Ed Weaver, and Mr. Steve Zeller. Z means the end, so now you can applaud. And some of our alumni, we have Mr. Anthony Connor, I saw him over there. We have Miss Christina Costello, Chrissy. We have Mr. Bob Vore, I saw him. Mr. Jason Frawley. We have Mr. Josh Friedman. We have Mr. Martin C. Henley.
And the C first.
And Mr. Matt Lopez. We have a real long one here. Miss, I got it. Miss Melinda McCleary Mullen. She's way back there. We have Mr. Scott Randolph. Mr. Mark Silverman. Ready for this one? Sergeant Paul Simonetta. And Mr. Mike Wilson. Mike. And Mr. Dan Zeller. Now for the little guys who are still in our Cinekyd program, we have Shane Barbera. Shane.
That's over.
Yeah, he's not too funny. We have Zach Bender. Sarah Bennett. Tom Clark. Frank Cohen. Peter Danowski, Amadu Ikpaji, Dave Grunberg, and his brother Zach. We have Pat Kelly, Danielle London, and her brother Michael. Carl Steeg, J.J. Weinstein, and his lovely sister Sarah. Thank you very much. Who's next? I think my lovely Aunt.
Thank you very much. And Frank, you are equally as lovely as your sister and mother. Okay. This is open mic time, but before we go to that, this is very important. I would like to introduce our most honored guests, and these are two very important men here. Without either one of them, I know my dad would be sitting here and they really pulled us out of this mess. So I want to say thank you to them and they'd like to come up here and say something. Mr. Frank D. Wallace, who proves that there are wonderful investigators who really are looking for the truth. So thank you very much, Mr. Wallace. Fine man, and our knight in shining armor, Mr. Frank D. Simone.
Let me just say, since Frank's the mouthpiece, he plays the role.
I'm always talking about that. You know, it really is a pleasure to be here, and I love to see Becky's smiling face as I look over all the hearings, and she had that little worried look behind her face all the time, but always smiling, and now she's happy. and doesn't have the lawyer. Well, but I was watching the tape here, and I'm just glad that one of the things, a great job by the kids and everybody, and I'm just glad that Bob Clark was able to do that cab driver appearance in 1998 because Robert De Niro would have been in trouble. Taxi driver would have had him in it, Mr. Clark in it, instead of Robert De Niro. You know, it's amazing when you're a lawyer and you get cases, and I don't like to take every case, and I told Bob that. I got a call from one of the parents one day in my office and said, Frank, you got to really, this friend of mine is in trouble, and it's crazy. He's the greatest guy in the world. It's ridiculous what's going on. The charges are ridiculous, and he's going on the phone. And I'm saying, wait a minute, hold on. I said, who is this fellow? And usually what I do is I talk to a client first on the phone. But this was a parent, and he kept going on and on. So you got to take this case. You got to get into this case. You have to meet this fellow. The charges are terrible. And I was kind of hesitant to take it, but I did after I spoke to him. And then I met Bob, and Bob came in, and I was impressed. And he tells me the story, and every client tells me they're innocent. Believe me, every client. I haven't had a client in 24 years that says they were innocent. But Bob was telling me his version of what happened. And then I got to meet the parents and the kids. And as Frank Wallace said to the people at our table earlier this evening, you really gave us an extra incentive to work hard for God, because you made us feel what a special person he was. And I got that feeling not from him, but from you folks out there. When I went to the preliminary hearing, I've never been at a hearing where I had so many people for me. Usually when I go to a preliminary hearing or a trial, we have the whole courtroom against us. When I walked into the courtroom, everybody was there. You folks were all there. And it really helped with Becky and everybody. And you supported me and Frank, and we worked triply hard. Of course, we believed in Bob's cause, obviously. And when I got to meet the boys in the program, I really believed in Bob's cause. But to digress to get a little ahead and then get back again. Tonight, I met that young lady, Sarah, 11.5 years old there, sitting at our table. And she loves the program, Cinekyd. She's talking to adults at the table. And she says she wants to be in the Academy Awards sometime. And she loves Cinekyd. And it's always a credit to the program. And Alex Ruday, I talked to him earlier. He testified at the hearing. And it was amazing to watch the boys who testified, Alex and a few of the boys who I had to cross-examine, because they said they were victims in the case. It's unbelievable. And they got on the stand, and the maturity is incredible. I was impressed by the way they speak and they conduct themselves. These are only children. These are only people 13, 14, 12 years old. It's incredible what this program does and what Bob Clark and Becky have done here. So it's through your efforts that Bob is where he is today. Because I'm telling you, it gave me the extra incentive to work hard. But I'm going to tell you one other thing. I couldn't have done this without Bob, because all through the course of this, I'd be in my office, Bob, Frank, and I would be plotting strategy, and we'd be thinking of what we were going to do. And then the night after Law and Order, I'd get a call from Bob, who would say, I was on the computer today, on the internet, and I saw this. Have we done this yet? Have we done that yet? And of course, Frank and I were doing some other things that we thought were important. But Bob's ideas were, of course, we had to go through. He said, explain this to me, and explain that to me. Well, at the process before we won the motion and the case was thrown out, Bob had, I guess, Law and Order had completed. It was an interesting show. And I got my daily phone call and my daily fax. My fax machine now is kind of, it's calmed down a little bit. It was I did it in the morning at 8:55, and there'd be a 4-page fax there with all my duties for that day. But the particular day, Bob said to me, well, we've gotten the discovery yet, and we've seen what the boys have said. I know the boys are going to be great, and I'm focusing on this hearing that we're going to have. But Bob is focusing on the discovery. So when the judge's order came down, throwing the case out, I said, Bob, should I start reading the discovery now and preparing the trial? Bob let me go. So I don't get my daily phone calls from him. It's a wonderful thing now to see his smiling face. But I want to thank all of you, because really, this was an unusual case. I don't think it should have gotten as far as it did. The preliminary hearing, I argued to the judge and to the folks that were there that the Commonwealth didn't make a case out. And if you were in front of Judge Brown, you heard what Judge Brown said. Judge Brown said that the preliminary hearing was the worst record he's ever seen in terms of making a prima facie case out. And God was good to us, because here on Good Friday, I can tell you, at the end of the day, we believe that this is a holy week for the Seder. I was at a Seder Monday night. And it's a wonderful time to sit and pray. And now we have Good Friday here on Easter Sunday. Well, Bob has risen here. He's back into the program. And all you folks, I hope 10 more years from now, we see some more smiling faces here. I personally want to thank you, though. I really do. I want to thank you for your support. And when I'm at those hearings and I see all you guys, and in fact, if you do me a favor, I have a couple of clients who would like to show up at the next hearing I have, because they're not going to have anybody in court. It's just going to be me and them and the district attorney's office. Again, thank you very much. And I want to thank Becky, because she is, without a doubt, one of the strongest people I have ever met. You know, it really is amazing how she stood behind Bob, and she took care of the program, and she smiled through it all. And, you know, she keeps thanking me all the time, and I say, don't thank me, but thank you guys for getting me involved in the case. I'm glad Mr. Hankins, he's the parent who called me. I'm glad he called me that day, because this had a happy ending. And I wish you all luck, and you got a great guy there, and you did a great job standing behind him. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeSimone. Two of the finest people I've ever met. Now we're going to go into open mic. If you'd like to come up and say something informal and brief, or even a small one, just introduce yourself, say hello. So I'll leave it to whoever wants to come up.
We need like a deli number thing. Hello, I'm Dan Zelich. I was a teen in Cinekyd for a couple of years and a student there. I don't really like talking in front of crowds very much, and you know, many people will tell you I better express myself through lots of flashy things and text on screens. But I mean, I just want to say how great it is to see everybody here. I mean, I'm seeing people here I haven't seen in like 6-7 years from Cinekyd, and I think we, boy, this is why I don't speak. I just want to say how enormously grateful we are to, like, well, at least how amazed I am to see all these people here and support Mr. Clark. It was a little bit of a rough time for me when I heard about it. I was shocked, but I mean, you know, long story short, we got through it, and it was through your support. And I mean, this guy is amazing. There's no, he made me feel good about going to the college I went to, and that took something. So, but I mean, I went there for 8 years, and this guy has always been behind me. I mean, you know, no matter what I did. And I just don't know if we can thank him enough. I'm sorry if I'm rambling here a little bit, but you know, I'm a little, yeah. I'm gonna stop talking now because I'm going to. But anyway, I think just once again, thank you to Mr. Clark, Becky, and all the people here who have made Cinekyd the place that it is. I mean, you know, we're there. We took a blow, but we're still going strong. So. Just keep up the good work, folks.
Testing. Okay, it's working. My name is Scott Randolph. I actually wrote a few notes because I was hoping I'd have an opportunity to say a few things. And when I was writing notes originally, I realized I had about the size of a telephone book of all the things I wanted to say, but some of us had to be back to work on Monday, so I had to cut it down to a very short little list. So I wanted to just kind of say a couple of things that I know some people are aware of. Some of this things, it's kind of be like a, I don't want to say word association, what do all these things have in common, but if we're talking about motion pictures and you talk about a movie like Catch Me If You Can or Castaway or He-Man, Master of the Universe, or you talk about Prince of Egypt, or you want to talk about television shows, you want to talk about Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, The Drew Carey Show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, how about Dateline NBC, how about local news like Channel 17, NBC, Fox, if you want to talk about television in those terms. All of those things I just mentioned have somebody who went to Cinekyd involved in all of those things. A lot of people don't realize that, but people who have been in this program at the time that I was there and the time that after I left, they have gone on to be very successful in the communication field. And also what's great to know is they've not only gone on successful in the communication field, they've gone on to be very successful lives in whatever chosen profession they have gone on. Actually, I know too, off the top of my head, there's a minister who's in South Philadelphia. He went to Cinekyd. And also, I believe he's still in Texas. I'm not sure. John Bethard, I don't know if he's still in Texas or not. He was also a minister. So there's a nice wide range of people who went to Cinekyd who were successful in the communication field and beyond. And a lot of the skills that they learned at Cinekyd. Every time I think back to this movie we did called Whiplash, which won an award, by the way, which we're all very proud to have been part of that. And every time I hear this one character by the name of Paul Reed say the line, "Riders coming, Paul!" I can't get over that is the Sprint guy. Everyone familiar with the Sprint commercials, the guy with the long black trench coat? Yeah, let me introduce you to Brian Baker, who went to Cinekyd at the time that I was there. And I think I probably could talk a little bit better about what I've done in my career, but I went to Cinekyd in 1976. That was November of '76. And at that time, Cinekyd was in the basement of Mr. Clark's house on Orangeman's Road. And it was a great experience. That was my introduction to radio. And I don't mean radio, what you hear now. I'm talking about Jack Armstrong, the All-American Kid. I'm talking about The Shadow, The Lone Ranger. Sorry, not The Lone Ranger, but The Lone Ranger. That was my introduction to radio. Actually, the funny thing is, when I was in school, I used to make a parody about the Lone Ranger, and I called it The Lone Ranger and his sidekick Salami. So sometimes I make that mistake, but anyway. That was my introduction to radio. I have spent a 15-year career in the Philadelphia market, starting at Eagle 106. Everyone remember that station? Yeah. I got that job because of a guy by the name of Eric Kerwin, who also went to Cinekyd. That's how I got my start in that business that I'm still in today. And it also went right back to the whole thing that Cinekyd was based on, each one reach one. Eric Kerwin knew that they needed somebody at Eagle. He knew that I was looking for a job, and that's how I started my career. And when I run into people and they say to me, "Oh, you're in radio now, where do you work?" Well, I work currently for a radio station in Philadelphia. And they say, "Oh, you don't know what radio was like back in the old days." So yes, I do. And I got that taste at Cinekyd. I spent 8 wonderful years at Cinekyd. And I'm going to wrap up here so other people can get up. I know a lot of people want to say some things, but one of the things I really wanted to stress is one of the things that I thought was so wonderful about Cinekyd was the direction and the leadership of Mr. Clark. And I will never forget some of the conversations I had with him alone at night. And he would talk about John Wayne. I still, to this day, love John Wayne movies. I could watch Big Jake over and over and over again. And it's because of Mr. Clark. I don't think I could look at Judy Garland the same way after hearing him describe Judy Garland. These are conversations that I had with this man that I will never forget. And the other conversation I want to mention too is one time we actually were talking about religion. But it really wasn't about religion, it was about having a faith in God. And that's what the conversation was about, having a faith. And it strengthened my faith too. So he's been a wonderful inspiration, not only to me, but I know to a lot of different people. And I just wanted to personally show my support throughout the whole thing. I was glad to go to the preliminary hearing and do whatever I could to support the man who supported me through 8 years of a wonderful time. So I just want to say thank you to Mr. Clark, thank you to all of you for supporting him. For the kids who are currently there, keep the dream. You know, you're learning a lot of great stuff, and you never know. Whoever said they want to go to the Academy Awards someday, we may just be reading about you someday. I hope you make it, and you probably will. Thank you.
My name is Matt McLaughlin, and I joined the program about 4 years ago with a shaved head, and came in bald, and now I've got all this. And I was depressed and lost in my life completely. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And I met Mr. Clark, and he completely turned my life around to someone who was failing school, to now I'm going to college, and a big part of that is a big thanks to him, and it's something that I'll never forget. And this summer was definitely one of the hardest times I went through, but I kept thinking about every Wednesday night when we're done working, I'd sit down and me and Mr. Clark would have long conversations, whether it was about country music or Johnny Cash or old movies. Every time something bad kept coming up, I kept thinking of those conversations about that first night back, how it was going to be when I finally got to hear that voice again, when I either called or just came in and I heard that voice saying, "Oh, Matt's here," and coming in, leaning out every Friday, I'd come in with an ice cream, sitting, talking to Mr. Clark before I got to work, and those are memories that I'm never going to forget. And I just want to say thank you again for everything you've done for me and turning my life around completely. God can never forget you. Thank you.
Okay.
Just hold it.
Okay.
Just hold it.
Okay, even though I'm just a Tyro kid and I'm only 9 years old, I've been here 4 years, and Mr. Clark is really nice, and I figured out that I actually do want to be an actress and everything, but I've already started that career already, because I've got an agent already, my mom's out. But anyway, when I heard about the case of Mr. Clark, I didn't believe it. I didn't think that Mr. Clark could do any such thing. He was a really nice guy. And I'm really happy that the case is over and we won, and everybody's really happy and it's going to happen.
Mr. Clark, alumni, and honored guests, I want to thank you for allowing me to take a few moments to speak. My name is Sergeant First Class Paul Simonetta, and I was in the program from 1980 to 1985, and then I had the honor and distinction of coming back to serve on Mr. Clark's staff for, I guess, from the late 80s into the 90s, before I had bounced all over God's green earth. The one thing that sticks with me through all the years is something called values, something that the Army cherishes. And the Army has broken values down into an acronym called leadership. And you'll see how this relates in a minute. L for loyalty, D for duty, S for selfless service, H for honor, I for integrity, and P for personal courage. Robert J. Clark Jr. is the embodiment of the Army value system, which I hope someday has a greater effect on the civilian communities as well. Because as each and every one of you well know, our value system is, I don't think it's where it should be, except for this man sitting to my right, and I'm sure everybody else in this room, but this man especially. This man is the consummate value bearer. Loyalty. He's loyal to the program he started in his basement and has shared that loyalty to the thousands of students and staff that have come through under his tutelage. duty. From the trying times that he went through this summer, the last 8 or 9 month period, he never wavered from his commitment to Cinekyd. Respect. No one teaches greater respect. Not only teaches, gives, and gains that respect from people than Robert J. Clark Jr. Selfless service, a rare commodity these days. He embodies that, service above self. The knowledge that he has shared with these kids over the years, and with me myself. Honor. I think that speaks for itself. Integrity. I've come across very few people that have the integrity that this man possesses. Not afraid to speak his mind, yet true to himself and true to those around him. It's a very rare quality, and it's something that I respect. Personal courage. The trials and tribulations that he was put through by those who don't share strong values, I'm sure would weaken most, but not him. In the conversations that we have had over the years, and along with my father sometimes, one thing that stands out in my mind is the fact that he never wavers. He believes in himself, and he believes in what's right. And for each and every one of you children, or young adults, I should say, sitting in this room, currently going through this wonderful program, you will not find many individuals like him when you get to my stage in my life. So I strongly encourage you to listen and learn, because the things that he has taught me over the years have helped me become a successful non-commissioned officer in the United States Army. And as a military instructor, I take the values and the lessons that he has taught me and apply them to the young men and women who allow us to sit here and enjoy ourselves and celebrate on an evening like this. My thanks to the two gentlemen who saw him through this. That's an excellent job. And it just proves to me that when all else fails, you can fall back on your values, and the good people will come through. Thank you.
I'm also a retirement kid, and if I was in Cinekyd, I wouldn't be myself, because I love movies, I'm obsessed with them. Every movie that I like, I obsess over it. And if it wasn't for Mr. Clark, I wouldn't be this confident. I wouldn't be as happy as I am now. And I think that's what we said. I'm the Academy Award girl. I take the Oscars every year because it's so important to me. Movies are super important to me. I'm really nervous. And if I wasn't at Cinekyd, I wouldn't be thinking about going to the Oscars. So, my whole life is Cinekyd.
Hi, my name is Brent Cohen. I'm in track. I've been going to Cinekyd for 2 to 3 years. Basically, from the beginning, I even came in from the early days of even thinking about doing anything, becoming an actor, doing anything. Like, I used to spend like forever impressing my parents with my Elvis impersonations or whatever I could do, telling jokes or doing anything. And I bring it all to Cinekyds just so I can make other people laugh, feel good, anything. I've been depressed in my time, been unhappy or anything. I come to Cinekyd and I feel a lot more happy than I've ever felt. Like I might have a little bit of problems or be depressed. I can hang out with my friend Amato, or because he's got some jokes in his pockets. And I've seen people like Matt McLaughlin make him laugh. They give you a whole bunch of different videos and things like that. But during the time when Mr. Clark was in trial, Becky did a great job of keeping everything together. Made everything really a lot more fun. Not saying that Mr. Clark didn't do a good job or anything. Him making fun of my hairstyle. But basically, during the times when he was out, like I came home from school one day, and my parents told me, and my grandparents told me that he has been accused of, what he's done, but he hasn't done it. But I was shocked to hear it, and I was like, he couldn't do that. You care too much about children. You care too much about us. You always have a smile on when you come in. You greet everybody with a handshake. You make sure everybody is always happy, no matter what. If they're depressed, if they're angry, or whatever, just make a difference. You will make it better. And basically, during the times when you were not there, I thought, hey, is he watching the movies that we're making here? Does he slip a tape in the VCR over and over again? See, I wish I was over there. Well, basically, that's all I have to say. I'm so glad that he's back, and I'm gonna be in here. I go to other acting classes, Walnut Street Theater, and I show them things for that. And I will make sure that I'm going to come here for the rest of my life, and I will remember for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Peter Danowski. I didn't really want to come up here. My two friends told me to. The reason was I didn't want to go up here is because before the trial, I didn't really know Mr. Clark. I had only been there for about 1 or 2 weeks. But after he left, from the things I've heard about him and from the time I knew him, I knew he was a really great guy and he couldn't do this to a kid like that. I just want to say that I think Mr. Clark's a great guy. I don't think he would do anything terrible, and he really cares about the kids. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
The one major thing that Cinekyd taught me is being positive. When I first came to Cinekyd as a hire kid, all I ever wanted to do was just grab a camera and run around and shoot random things and not care what it looked like. I'd always hand in the footage to Mr. Clark, and he'd always watch it, review it, and write out a little memo. And he told me, singled out certain shots, and instead of saying, oh, this shot is bad, or he'd tell me, this shot could be better because, and he'd always give me productive criticism and always like that. And he's always positive, and everything he did was positive. When I first came to Cinekyd, I was this young kid, and I saw all these teenagers who were running the thing, and I thought, because I wasn't very popular in school, and I figured, I hope these kids would make fun of me, but no, it was a completely positive atmosphere, and everyone was so nice, and Mr. Clark was nice, and Becky never stopped smiling, and it was always fun. And if you were ever angry, just take it out in the deck. That's okay. And when this whole thing came around, and he was accused of the horrible things that people said he did, he's just too positive of a guy to do such a negative thing. And when it all came out, it's just such a negative crime to have done, for such a positive guy. It didn't make sense, and I want to say that.
I have been a pain in the butt all my life. And that's just about been true since my birth. I was constantly in trouble in school, pretty much all my life. And just about at every turn, people were willing to give up on me. At one time or another, it would be a teacher, a guidance counselor, or whatever. Eventually, my parents, God bless them, were at the end of their rope and decided that anything was better than nothing. They saw this ad in the paper and they took me down to Cinekyd. Almost immediately, I did like it. I liked it. I've tried to be a creative person all my life. It gave me an outlet. But more importantly, pretty much from the day I got there, this guy saw me as more than a pain in the butt and rode my butt to make me more than a pain in the butt. It didn't entirely work. I'm still a pain in the butt. I'm a pain in entirely new butts now. However, again, the day I got there to the day I left, this man wanted me to be more than I was and always pushed me to be more than I was. And until it wasn't more than I was, it was what I was. And forever, everywhere that I've gone, with or without him, I've always carried that with me. And I've always been worth more because the one person who was willing to see beyond, what a pain in the butt, propelled me to do something with myself and be, to have goals and aims and to expect more of myself. And to this day, it's lessons, it's this voice in the back of my head, Martin, get the hell out of the bathroom. And I will carry it with me forever. God bless him. This was a sin and a crime. And God bless it, truth prevailed. And it's just that simple. And I will forever cherish Becky, my brother Tom, who's too busy learning how to fly a helicopter, and Craig, who used to be knee-high to my knee when I was knee-high to Bob's. So again, I have met so many wonderful people and carried it all with me. And those of you that are in the program now, you will carry it with you forever. So God bless you all.